Hello, and welcome to the net new episode of Life as It Should Be. In the initial episodes, we discussed about podcasts, which ones to pick up, which ones to not, what do you prioritize in your life, and then we briefly touched upon health, as we said that health should be your first priority, and if it's not, then you somewhere got wrong with your priorities, right? So after health, the second which I feel should be very high on your priority list is relationships. Right? Many would argue it's money, because if you have money you will have good relationships, but somewhere I believe relationships and money are independent of each other. Yeah, you could build some short term relationships because you have good enough money, and if your relationships are strong enough, that would give you a boost so that you can go and earn a lot of money by yourself because of the passion and support that you get from your home front, right? But if you have a billions of dollars and you're all alone in your life without a proper relationship, somebody who's close to your heart, somebody who you can share your feelings, emotions, secrets with, that money does not matter much, right? So if you look at it from that way, this podcast, let's discuss about relationships. What are the various relationships we have, and what's the best way to navigate it? And life as it should be focuses on that. There is no one relationship that you have to focus on, or do a complete doctorate on, because we like it or not, we will have to play part of all the relationships that we come across in our life, right? So when we start this discussion, most of the people either tend to relationships in office or relationships at home, right? But what I strongly believe is that both of these should go hand in hand. If you got a problem in office, there's hardly you would be able to continue harmoniously or stably in the home front. And why, if you have a problem at home, it's very very difficult to focus and be productive at work. So whether we like it or not, both of these are equally important. And when I talk about home, it also includes friends, right? So both of these are of equal importance, and both play a massive role in how we as a human perform in our daily life, are happy in our life, right? So when it comes to office, right, let me first go and hit the bullseye is your relationship with your boss, right? Very important. I mean, you can call him your manager, your supervisor, report line manager, boss, whatever it is, but you know who I am talking about, right? So how should your relationship be with your boss, right? So there are multiple podcasts. You can just search for relationship advice with boss, unless you want to have a romantic relationship. I'm not talking about that, but even otherwise there are millions of podcasts which tell you how do you have a relationship with boss. The way I have responded or reflected on this particular relationship in last more than 25 years of my career, what I can tell you is, I for one always felt that everyone who's colleague of my boss is also my boss, right? And I always very strongly felt that hierarchy is very important. As much as people strive towards flatter organizations and open sitting positions and all, yeah, sittings and all, I'm fine. We can all sit in a cabinet and there should be no glass door. Oh, person to person, for me that does not matter much. But this one I would want to say that hierarchies are very important. And why hierarchy is important? Because not everybody can take all the decisions of the company, right? So for example, if your bottom line is getting stressed, it's not getting profitable, you're not making the anticipated revenues and all, sometimes you will need to take strong decisions. And not everybody can take that strong decision, because the house will be divided, and then you come to a democratic process, it more often than not messes up the entire thing. And then there is budgeting, and then there's marketing, and then there's some advertising, which requirements to be picked up, which ones to be done. So everyone has their role very clearly cut out in most cases than otherwise, right? So that's where the hierarchy is very, very important. And that's why everybody who's the colleague of my boss, per me, he is my boss, right? So if he may be a CFO, he may be a CEO, he may be a uh, chief of marketing, chief of strategy, chief of risk, whatever you take, but because he's the colleague of my boss, he is an equivalent boss to me. uh, I do not worry whether he's deserving, not deserving. There is a reason why he is in that hierarchy and I am not. While I'll continue to learn from them what to do and aspire to be in that position, and there are some portions which I will also learn what not to do when I am in that position. But till I am in that position, my boss, as well as all the colleagues in my boss, are higher ups, and what they believe is what I should be aligned to. If they come to me for an advice or a suggestion or a recommendation, I will give that very freely. But otherwise, if they have already taken a decision, no matter how I feel about it, I commit to that. Yeah. So that's one thing very, very important. We have to agree that hierarchy is there for a reason. No matter you pick up democracy, no matter you pick up capitalism, no matter you pick up socialist, communist, whichever form of governance, they all talk about equality, the power in the hands of citizens and all. But once you select a prime minister, you select a prime minister. You do not keep selecting, removing every other day. You do not have that power. You have the power to elect him once every X number of years, but you do not have power to keep on changing as per your whims and fancies based on their approval ratings. Right? So this has been more or less unanimously agreed across the globe, and that's what we should follow. Now, second, I have told to many of my friends as well as my juniors when I have these discussions with them. So very important that your boss cannot promote you. Always keep in mind this thing: your boss cannot promote you. That's the very reason why his colleagues should are also your bosses. That mentality is very important. But what your boss can do is not promote you, right? So if you have to get promoted, you need to have blessings of all his colleagues. Of course, starting from him, should have blessings of all his colleagues. You should have blessings of his boss, right? So while he alone cannot promote you, but he has the power to not promote you, because unless he proposes, not gonna happen. Unless, yeah, it's a massive organization, and then you have some plans to move across departments, then you have a chat with them that what if I come, but even otherwise, unless a particular colleague of his is either fired or left the company, very unlikely that you will be considered for that position. So yeah, this is one thing we should all remember. And finally, you should also remember that you need to have empathy, because your boss is a human being as well, right? Along with the so many things that go in his mind, which he has to manage, coming from his boss or from his stakeholders or something based on his strategy, whatever it is, he also has the responsibility of all the people who are reporting to him. So there are some chances that some one of cases he might lose his cool, and he's a human being. Have an empathy. Have empathy, because someday or the other you will be in their position, and that time You will not transform by magic into a god or an angel. Yeah. So be empathetic, but that does not mean that you tolerate abuse. Your self respect also matters. Yeah. But once in a while, if you understand that his intent is not wrong, but he just lost his cool, maybe have a close chat with him after some time when everything has become normal. Yeah. Now the second one comes with relationship with your colleagues. Trust me, and I have told this to many people, and this is actually one of my favorite statement. What I say is, work really becomes play when colleagues become friends. Work becomes play when colleagues become friends, right? So that's how it should be. They should be one of your best friends. I by no means telling you that you should have a shared interest outside work, go drinking together, go to movies together. No, if you do that, it's fine, it's great. But if you don't do also, is fine. But at work, you need to have that high level of trust between your colleagues, that they don't need to keep watching if somebody is plotting something against them. That massive source of office politics, that's something you do not need. Well, you cannot control what they think about yourself, but you can always control what you think about them. Yeah. So self respect is very, very important. As much as you treat them with respect, you should also expect that the respect is mutual. Yeah. Very, very important thing, and that's where most of the office politics emanates from, I believe. That we believe that, to be able to get promoted, we need to be much, much better than our colleagues, and or our show that our colleagues are much worse than us, whichever way, right? But one thing we all very conveniently forget, that they are not your competition, right? If you are an awesome asset for the company, you will qualify for that promotion, and you will be trained and given that promotion when you are ready for it. But you will just not be given a promotion because your colleagues are far worse than you. You need to qualify yourself, and you are your only competition. You should be better than yourself, not your colleagues. They are not your competition. Then again, they are your mirror, right? As much as don't worry about what they are telling you, their body language will give out, right? Are they happy when they see you? Are they stressed when they see you? Are they not very comfortable to come and approach you for talking? Or are you always the center point who they come out to when they need some help, right? uh, don't go about the formal birthday wishes or formal good morning, hey, how are you wishes, but you will know the vibe, right? And if you believe the vibe is not right, take it on yourself to make it right. Yeah. So they are not your competition, they are your mirror. They will very clearly mirror about how you are behaving in the office, how you are being looked upon in the office. Yeah. And always remember this fact, that it might so happen that after 2 years or 3 years, or maybe ASAP in next 1 year, you may be reporting to them. They may get promoted. Your boss might leave, one of your colleagues may get promoted. You may get promoted if your boss leaves in his position. So there may be a day when either they will be reporting to you or you will be reporting to them. That situation should never be awkward, right? The more often than not, the person who gets promoted is the one who's uncomfortable because he doesn't know how to face or how to broach this discussion, and the onus is on the others to go and make him comfortable. He deserved it. The decision is taken no matter what, right? If you are comfortable with the decision, commit to the new relationship, move on. If you are not comfortable, move on. There are other companies as well. But do not stay there and make that stay uncomfortable for you as well as to the person who got promoted. Yeah. Now, relationship with one downs. Very, very important, and I'll be very brief about it. Transparency matters, right? As much as possible, if they are supposed to be informed about anything in the organization, by all means, they should be informed. Do not think that okay, I came to know about this now, so I will keep it from them for 2 to 3 4 days, and then I'll inform them. If you believe that information has to go to them and nobody has told you that it's on a need to know basis, by all means please talk to them and tell them. The transparency levels must be very high between you and your one downs, right? One thing which I'm also still learning, the second one, and I'm much better. I keep telling everyone that I'm much better than what I used to be some years before, is not to lose your temper. Yeah, and especially it happens with your one downs, because I don't know, this is more of a Asian or Indian culture, I believe, where we believe that our one downs are our kids, right? So we sometimes take that relationship to granted, and sometimes we lose our temper. But whenever you lose your temper, it's you who are hurting yourself the most, right? Most of the employees these days, uh, if they react, they will go to the HR. If they do not react, they just don't even care about what you're telling to them, right? But when you lose your temper and when you shout on somebody, what's happening is it's your blood pressure which is going up, and if it keeps on going up again and again, your stress levels are pretty high, and then you are drowning yourself in a sea of cortisol. Don't do that, right? Don't lose temper. Um, but then there are some folks telling me that their one downs do not work or do not meet the targets unless you are harsh to them or rude to them, or always keep on showing the stick to them. What I will tell you is, before the work starts, sit with them, tell them the expectations, and together define the carrot and stick, right? This is the project, this is what we need to achieve by so and so time. If you achieve it, then what happens? If you do not achieve it, then what happens? Propose something, let something come back from them, think through, come to a middle path, agree on that. Yeah, this is what we are gonna do. So what has happened is, you along with your team have defined what is the carrot and what is the stick of the upcoming activity, upcoming project, upcoming program, whatever it is, right? And I wanted to complete this whole video in 20 minutes. Yeah, just the work part has not even over. It's 18 minutes now. Okay. Relationship with work. Work is very, very important. Whether you are working for somebody or whether it's your own business, it's very, very important, because that keeps your brain active. Most of us, when there is an extended holiday, what do? Most of us Netflix, binge something on Prime. Is there a cricket match? Is there a soccer game? Some awesome movies, right? That's where, and then we just binge on popcorn, alcohol, whatever it is, right? So imagine if there was no work and we are all idle. I am sure most of us would have continued doing the same thing during the other 7 days as well, right? The universal payment that somebody is proposing, when AI takes over 100%, we would not have to do any of the job. So there's a universal pay somebody is proposing. That's gonna be catastrophic from this perspective. Let me tell you very clearly. What we should do, even if that comes to be a reality, is to find out something that really appeals to our brain and make sure we keep it active. Keeping your body inactive might lead to some diseases down the line, but keeping your brain inactive will have catastrophic consequences much earlier than you can anticipate. Yeah, that's number one. Number two, mostly people think that I'll do a workout of 1 hour at gym or at home, and that's enough for my body to be comfortable, or to take through my body for the rest of the day just sitting and working on a system or a computer. Wrong. Please make sure you keep on moving around as much as possible. Right, you focus on your work, but even the small breaks of 2 minutes to 5 minutes every 1 hour actually boosts your productivity. That's not an interruption to your work. Initially 2 to 3 days it will be uncomfortable if you're not used to it, but believe me, your brain gets tuned to that, and it knows that there's a break coming up, and then it will start dividing your work into logical windows. Yeah, because we were not meant to sit in a place when we were not actually sleeping. Most of the cases we would meant to move around, not necessarily running all the time, not necessarily lifting heavy things all the time, but we were not meant to sit in one place. Yeah, so keep moving, regardless of what work you are doing. These days there have been I'll not go much into details, but last 6-7 months there have been retrenchments, firings, people being let go. So there have been a lot of mixed emotions. Sometimes your best friend who's working with you, next day you come to know that he is being let go. Whoever is let go at one point or the other, he is a best friend of somebody or the other who stays back. Right, so it by no means am I saying that if your best friend is not affected, you should not be worried. Yeah, we should have a silent prayer for everybody who is let go, regardless of the reason. And prayers have a lot of strength. That is for a different podcast on a different day. But if cumulatively together, united, if we pray for someone, those prayers do work. Yeah, so if that's the minimum what we can do. If we come to know, if we come to know somebody of our own have been let go, send a prayer to them. Even if you don't know who has been let go, just think about, okay, this is the company, this has got let go. I mean, Oracle, for example, they have let go 30,000 folks. Right or wrong, I am not the one to decide, but we know that 30,000 people have been let go. There may be a certain section of people who are still struggling. Sending a silent prayer that may they find another job quickly and do not go through a lot of discomfort. Company has given some compensation. Before that runs out, hopefully they'll land up another job. Uh, Pray to your God just now the way I have prayed. Now, second thing, is it a good practice? Not a good practice. So ideally, what I believe that when you are hiring a person, please think through the person is needed at least for next 5 years or not. If the answer is no, please do not hire. Please find creative ways of getting the same work done without a replacement or without hiring. Please do not create empires just for the sake of hiring. I have seen that happening in many of my previous companies. Not good, not recommended. Do not hire just for the sake of it. Do not hire just to build an empire. Do not hire just to feel great that you have a number of folks under you. If you need 10 people, hire 5 and see if you're able to manage. If not, go for one more, go for one more, go for one more till the time you are able to manage. Most of the time, the work will expand to the limit that you believe it should. When you believe you need 10 people and then you hire 5, most practically maybe you needed 7, just 2 more. Right? So be very conscious when you're hiring. And it's actually not a very balanced scale. When we get a better opportunity, we are happy. We just put our papers, serve our notice period, and move on to the new company. Right? And when company takes a decision that based on whatever so and so reason it has to let go of it, folks, why is it being scorned like anything? Last 1 week, I have seen such bitter comments in social media about Oracle. Yeah, the owner is a millionaire, they have made an awesome revenue, but they're still letting go of the people. It's completely company's prerogative. They do not need to explain to anybody. They're not here for charity. And there is a very specific contract that employee signs with the company when he joins it. He, if he wants to leave, serves a notice period. Company, if it wants to let go, will give you a notice period. I believe that's fair. And at the time of joining company, every one of us signs that. Now, why is it that the senior management or the company is being looked down with so much of poison? Please. I have never understood, or maybe I'm missing something. If I change my view on this, I'll make one more podcast. But at this moment, I have not changed this view, since last 10 to 15 years when I have seen these layoffs happen. Right? There are some companies which have ulterior motives when they are doing this. If something like this has been discovered, it's up to the government or the unions to take the company to the task. But outside of that, I don't think it's fair to demonize a company just because it has let go of some people. I can tell you, even if there are no cost pressures, if we believe that we have leveraged any particular technology which is helping us to increase our productivity, that productivity will make no sense unless you cut cost or you do more. How do you do more? Not by creating artificial work, but actually showing something credible on the ground. Yeah. So again, that's my views, and I'm pretty sure that there will be strong responses coming to this, but that's what it is. Right? When you are changing the job, do it without any regret. Similarly, when company lets you go, please do not demonize it. It's fair and square. If it was fair and square then, it's fair and square now as well. Right? And again, whenever you are changing jobs, please do not do it only for salaries. That maybe, unless your company is really, really, really underpaying you and the intentions have been made very clear that you will not be given a proper grade, yeah. But otherwise, that should be not the only reason why you will join. Yeah, or change. So almost 30 minutes. I wish I could spend more time. If you have any questions, if required, maybe some other podcast. Let me move to the home front. Now, home front, when you say relationships at home front starts with you, with yourself. Right? So you need to first prioritize the relationship with yourself. You should 100% know about yourself. I'll give you some example where I'll make it clear that it's not. Most of us find difficult to say no. Most people think it's an office phenomenon. No, it's also at a personal front. Say for example, you don't like meeting a person X or spending time with them, but you just spend time with them because you cannot say no. How many people we know personally where we are spending time like that? Well, we cannot go openly and say no. Right? If you really know yourself very well, if you are very clear about what you are, you should be very comfortable in saying yes, saying no, asking for help, giving help. There should be no ambiguity. Think about it. Yeah. Also, prioritize yourself. कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि ज़िंदगी के दौड़ भाग में पढ़कर हम दूसरों को ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंस दे देते हैं, दूसरों की खुशियों को ज़्यादा अहमियत देते हैं. हमेशा अपने आप को अपने ज़िंदगी के सेंटर में रखो. Right? It's perfectly fine that you love your boss, love your colleagues, love your friends, love your office. I personally love my job. I'm pretty passionate about it. Almost all the years I have spent so far, I have worked for banks, and I'm pretty passionate about running banks because I know that I do not have enough money to open my own bank. So it's actually an amazing gift that I have got, that I'm able to work in other banks and make the difference. I'm that passionate about it. I have personally seen how people's lives have changed as the banks have improved from branch based, then ATMs, and then credit cards. How life has changed us. Now, digital banks, right? So, it's a game changer for human civilization. Yeah. So, that's why I'm extremely proud about working in banks who still have customer in the center of everything that they do, right? So when people say I'm so stressed, yaar काम बहुत ज़्यादा है, I am not able to focus. So I think one of the podcast earlier podcast I covered as well, that I don't feel stressed at any point of time when it is about doing work for my office, because that's my passion. Imagine you have to play a cricket match for 50 years overs. You will happily play for the entire 50 overs, starting morning till the evening. Yes, you will be tired, exhausted, you will have an amazing sleep, but you will never complain about it. Whether you lose or win does not matter. Even with same is with the game of soccer, same is with going and participating in high rocks. Amazing, right? Marathons and high rocks, we pay our own money, we go through the pain, and we don't even need to come first or second. Even we complete it, we are so happy. But that's what passion is. That should what actually translate when you are working, right? If that's not what is happening, then please, again, know yourself, find out which work makes you that much happy. Yeah. So पैसा दे के कैसे अपना दर्द खरीदते हो यार, हाई रॉक्स वाई रॉक्स जाके. I mean, I am also one of those victims. I am also equally passionate about participating in events and all. But this logic I could never understand. But maybe because we are very very specific about achieving some goals, and this is like achieving one of our health goals. So that's why. So I'm equally passionate, and work never gives me stress. Right? Work should never give you stress. I'm very very happy that I get opportunities in premier organizations and financial institutions to make a difference in everybody's life. And that's why it doesn't matter if it's a Friday, if it's a Saturday, if it's a Sunday. Am I having fun with my friends? Am I watching a movie? If there is something this needs to be done in the related to office work, I always make time to do that. Yeah. So know yourself and prioritize that thing. Very 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 important, right? So again, in the last part is that with whoever you make a relationship further, you need to very very clearly define the top 2 or 3 must haves, right? You don't appear to be needy, don't worry about that. You just define what are the top 3 things that you will require bare minimum in a relationship. Is it a self respect? Is it love? Is it secrecy? Is it privacy? What is it? Right? So, again, reflecting back, relationship with self, you should know when to say no. You should really know what you want and what you do not want, and don't get confused with that. You must always prioritize and know what you like, what you do not like, right? And third is you must have a list, at least of top 3 things without which you will not be forming a relationship with anybody else. It's not being needy, it's being very clear what you need from a relationship. Yeah. So next, moving on, relationship with parents. One thing, at least I know Indian society does, most of the Asian societies may also do. I think so, they do, but I'm not very sure. But parents are God for us, specifically mothers, right? In Sanskrit, they say Matra Devo Bhava, which means mothers are gods, fathers are gods. So yeah, which is, I mean, you should respect them, right? But one thing what we have to remember, as we age, as we grow up, that parents can be wrong as well. It doesn't mean that you will go confront them, doesn't mean that you will go and make them realize, make them feel guilty, make them push them to a corner. But always remember, parents can be wrong as well, right? But why it is important to forgive them is because their love is unconditional. What they behave, what they do can be wrong, but their intentions can never be wrong. Yeah, their love is always unconditional. Very, very rare to find similar pattern in any other relationship. So, and specifically when they are about to retire, or when they are about crossing a certain 65 age, or in India mostly it's 60. We strongly we first celebrate that they have reached 60, and there's a function and all that, there's a party that goes on. But after that, this is a gentle reminder to everybody, all their children, is that their parents are now reborn. Over a period of time, they will slowly start behaving like children, and you have to get into the shoes of being their parents, right? This may not appeal to some of the societies where they are much more freer and all, but specifically for our Indians, तो ये तीन चीज़ें हमको हमेशा याद रखनी है कि हमारे माता पिता गलत हो सकते हैं, वो भी इंसान हैं, उनसे गलती होती है, उनका इरादा कभी गलत नहीं होता, हमेशा अनकंडीशनली प्यार करते हैं आपसे, और जब उनकी उम्र हो जाए तो हमें उनके मम्मी पापा बनना है, राइट? इसका ये मतलब नहीं कि हमको हक मिल जाता है उनके ऊपर आवाज़ उठाने का, right? Yes, you treat them like the children, because sometimes you will have to explain the same thing to them twice or thrice, like our parents used to explain us when we were kids. You may need to explain them how to use an iPad, how to use an iPhone, how to change channels in a TV. Please do not work, please do not move things. All those with a lot of patience. You will have to repeat it 5 times, 6 times. You have no authority, you have no right to raise your voice on your parents, no matter what they do. Forgiveness, always reconciliation is what you need to do. Third is about our siblings, brothers, sisters, right? Most of it because of our occupational constraints. We are working in a different places, we can't be together. There is a distance, unlike what our parents used to be. We are having a long distance relationship with our siblings. We always think about them, talk about them, but not necessarily spend as much time together as our earlier generation used to do, which we have to agree. So as much as possible, try to do common plans, which means at least 2 years heads up. Start planning that 2028, can we do this thing together? Give them enough amount of time, because not everybody is in Singapore. Well, most of my siblings are in India, so they have their own challenges and workaround. So yeah, as much as possible, plan 2 years down the line. Tell them that and come together to a common agreement that maybe March, April, May of 2028 we'll be together and spend at least 2 weeks together. That's doable, right? And again, when we are trying to retire, better we plan together that where do we want to retire. Everybody will have their own preferences where they would want to retire, but maybe go with majority. Not necessarily retire in the same place, but retire somewhere around, so that we can bump into each other more often than not. Believe me, it's fantastic when you spend time with your siblings after you retire. I have seen some of them and I really love them, right? Now, so everybody was eagerly thinking that when it comes to relationship, I'll talk about partners and spouses, but the most important thing you can do is to have all your relationships so strong that you do not become a burden on your partner. Yeah. So relationship with partners, the most important thing is that we have to agree that we do not keep argument or discussion going for too long, right? Always believe that no matter whose fault it is, it's we who should ask for forgiveness. I don't know why I came up with this crazy rule, but that's what I told my wife also at that time, even before when we got married, saying that, most of the time it would be my fault, but regardless of whose fault it will be me who will come and reconcile first. So that will take out the equation of ego from a relationship. Most of the time it's our ego, and we start thinking that, why should I go and reconcile? But that's the first thing that I addressed when I was getting into relationship with my spouse. So that's one. And even if it's the other person's fault, right? And sometimes when I say fault, it could be a much deeper mistake, or something so wrong that you would not have thought in your dream that how can this person do that, right? Possible, because this is life, and life as it should be. Life brings surprises, right? But again, what should be important is intent, right? You did not like, you actually hated what the other person did, but in a corner of your heart, and don't take anybody else's advice, specifically when it comes to partners. There's a very good running joke that, you should never ask advice from somebody else when it comes with a problem, when it comes to the problems with your partner. And you should never advise to any partner. You are the one who will get fired in between, right? So let the partners they sort out their own problem. Again, so sorry, coming back, right? Heart of the hearts, ask yourself if the person really meant harm to you, or whether his intention was correct but what he did was wrong. And if the answer from your heart comes that his intent was correct, have a very open discussion with the person, saying, I did not like what you do. Set some ground rules, monitor for some days before you accept the person again, right? But eventually, when you give the silence treatment, it's very, very important that you know where it ends. That's the biggest problem happening within partners, right? Even the other partner may agree that, he did he did a massive screw up. He has apologized, or she has apologized, and when you apologize, Lord Krishna says that be ready for the punishment. The extent of the punishment, the intensity of the punishment is on the other person. Only you can do is regret and repent, and that gives you the strength to face the punishment given by the other person. So from your side, you don't do anything, but the other person who's actually punishing you, always remember that he's also, or she is also going through the same punishment. It can never happen that in a partnership, in once you're married or you're in love, that you are going through a pain and your partner is not. No rules. Yeah. So when you are creating a punishment, you need to tell the other person how long this silent treatment is gonna go, or whatever way you want to punish the person. But you should be very clear by when, because if you do not know how to exit, then you are like the same people who are into stock market who doesn't know when to exit and how. Yeah. So that's with the partners. One is learn to be forgiving, keep your ego at bay, and listen. Because most of the time we don't listen to our partners. Most of the time you and your partner, me and my partner, get together and start watching movies. Not listening to each other. That's the biggest complaint these days. So please, when talking to them, pay attention to them, listen to them. You'll be surprised. Yeah. Just relationship with partners, I can take another 1 hour of podcast. But anyway, just move on. Relationship with friends. This is one of the most amazing relationships. No rules. Absolutely no rules. If he's your best friend, If she is your best friend, absolutely no rules, right? Every Friday we decide that okay, this is the last, bro. We won't be drinking again, and then we are back to drinking again without any guilt, and nobody blames anybody saying why the heck you not able to stand by your word. No rules, right? But always make sure you have handful of friends, right? Never confuse that you have hundreds of friends. Sorry, never confuse. And the more you want to have a higher number of friends, the more you will not be able to you know have a fruitful friendship relationship, right? So my thumb rule has always been that I'll have three friends. Those three friends might change from year to year or period to period, but at any point of time I will not be able to spend more time than with three of my friends. So I have three friends. That's it. And those people, they know me very well who are those three, right? So I don't need to look at the clock when I have to call them, they don't look at the clock when they have to call me, and all that. And a very important thing is, do not let money come in between friendship. Yeah, whenever your friend is in real need and he wants money, whenever you are giving them money, do not expect that he will give it back to you. So just give that much amount where you are comfortable. Even if you do not get it back, you should not regret. If he gives back to you, all good. If he doesn't give back, no problem, because friendship is much more important than money. Money you can earn again. Yeah. So that's about friendship. And yeah, again, when I was telling that, I was talking about relationship with self, and we do not prioritize, we are not clear what we want for ourselves and all. So one of the very critical important things is about habits, right? We all know what are the good habits, how do we mean to live and all. Just remember this. I will conclude this podcast with that message. Yeah. Now, relationship with children. Yeah, everybody has their own way of dealing with their children. More often than not, shouting, trying to control them, making sure they are the best in the class. But we should know that there is only one person who can come first in the class. Everybody cannot come first in the class. Otherwise, then you start banding them in 90 percentile, 80 percentile, 70 percentile. So your kid always has to be in 90 percentile. Again, that's not possible, right? So there can be only 10% who will be in the 90 percentile. So anyway, but all I want to say is that parents do not come with a user manual when they are having kids, right? If it were in a very ideal society, we would go to a counselor before we get married. We will go to a counselor before we plan our children, because they are the SMEs who can tell us actually how to behave and how not to. But I sincerely hope that the next generation starts doing that. But yep, so far parents, they do not have any user manual how to deal with their kids, right? So more often than not, they tend to look up to their elders, how they have treated their children, and we follow suit. Sometimes it's not right, and we realize it very late. Yeah. So apologize when you are wrong. Apologize even to your children. That doesn't make you small. Yeah. So I have apologized multiple times, and my younger kid actually makes sure that I apologize to her. She will remember everything and read back to me, and I have apologized whenever I felt that genuinely I have done a mistake. I do. Yeah. And as much as possible, try not to be a burden on your children when you get 70 plus, 60 plus, when you retire. Make sure you have a very strong retirement plan and medical insurance as much as possible. Take care of your health, so that as much as possible you don't get your children to bear anything. Yeah. So that's the thing. One very important relationship which nobody talks about is, how do we have relationship with strangers, right? And these are the times when we go to different city for jobs, different countries for jobs, different places for tourism, right? And it's very, very important, how do we have behave in a stranger place, how do we have a relationship with strangers. With relationship with strangers, you should always reflect. right? When a person is crossing you who you do not know, if he does not choose to look at you, that's completely fine. Do not take it as an offense, just move on. If the person looks at you, you can also look back at them with a small smile. If they wish you, please wish them back. If you feel like wishing, wish them, but if they don't wish back, it's fine, move on. Yeah. So that is one. Second is always empathize as much as possible unless they are getting violent. If sometimes they feel grumpy, if they sometimes complain, if they shout on your face, if you are able to control your patience, control yourself, empathize. There could have been something that happened to the person and you do not know about it. Yeah. Singapore is a best place I could have chosen to work and settle down. I haven't ever faced any racism so far, except one time when there was a college kid who just shouted and you know crossed me. But I was taken by shock, so I did not respond back. I was just looking at that. One case in 20-25 years. That's perfectly okay. Yeah. So have very very clear boundaries and respect the boundaries as well when it comes to strangers. Yeah, have very very clear boundaries. So once if that is breaching your boundary, you can always alert them. If they do not listen, you can always ask for help or shout for help. That's the basic uh, rule book for how you have relationship with strangers. I've kept the final one for the best one for the last. Is your relationship with God. That's I think is the best relationship that you can have, because God does not expect anything from you. He's very very loyal, and he can never be wrong. And distance doesn't matter. You don't need to go to the temple. You don't need to go to church. You don't need to go to mosque. Anybody who says it's mandatory to go somewhere, that I mean it's just I leave it to you. How do you want to respond to those things, right? But there's no such expectations. There are no mandates. And imagine even the instructions given by gods. Eventually, in any of the religious book, if you see, it's actually for your good, right? When you say love your neighbor, it means live harmoniously, right? And when they say eat vegetarian and all those things, which means you live harmoniously with the nature. And even if you do not see God for 20 years and then you suddenly have some problem which is not in your control and you go back to him, he's always there to help you out. So relationship with God is the best, right? And specifically when it comes to Hindu gods, that's one of the best, right? They absolutely zero expectations. He will tell you that if you want to do this, do this. If you want to do that as well. So there will be some system processes defined. You have to do in this way, this way, this way. But if you do not do, they do not bother much, right? And I think almost all the religions propose that the God is always with you. So he's always with you even when you do not look up to him. But if you take one step towards him, he'll take 100 steps towards you, right? So relationship with God is the best, and he alone has the power to fix up any screw ups you have in your life with any of the relationships. Yeah. So what does that mean? That it has been so much de-glamorized, right? People say, oh, I don't want to live like a monk. I don't want to live in a jungle, right? I don't know who has their ulterior motive in trying to paint the relationship with God in that manner, but that's not the case, right? All God expects you to do is do whatever you want very mindfully, right? When we say very mindfully, what does that mean? I'll be very blunt about it. Alcohol, right? Most of the people, including me, I like taking alcohol once in a while. Yeah. So don't be mindlessly binging on alcohol. When you are going to spend some time with your friends, it's a good atmosphere, you would want to have a couple of beers here and there. Be very mindful about it. You know, once in a blue moon, if there is such a occasion where you have to binge and blackout, also do it mindfully, right? It's most of the time when you are not mindful about what you are doing, even if it's eating a samosa. Eat mindfully. You will never binge on samosas, you will never binge on pizza, never binge on popcorn, because we do it mindlessly, right? Whoever has invented that you need to watch a movie with a popcorn was the smartest guy in the world, because you guys are focusing on the movie and eating popcorn mindlessly. And that small tub of popcorn is more than 1,000 calories. Imagine, I can't even imagine the tub of popcorn that people are gulping these days. So do it mindfully. That's all God expects from you. Whatever you do it mindfully. Know, acknowledge, and do. Yes, I am taking this much alcohol. If I take more, it may hurt my lungs. It may hurt my liver. It may hurt my intestines. It may make me sick. If you are mindful, still want to go ahead. Do not blame the circumstances, do not blame anybody else if your health is taking a hit. Your health in your hands. And same goes for any other habit: binge eating, smoking, drinking, uh, what do you say that binge watching Netflix is also one of the biggest diseases. Eating pizzas non-stop, eating burgers, Coca-Cola, for example. I mean, I don't know. There are some people who can't let go of a Coca-Cola. I used to like as well, and then I moved to Coke Zero, and then recently my nephew tells me Coke Zero is equally bad, so I have stopped Coke Zero as well. But once in a while, if it's not possible to avoid it, I take it without any guilt. I'm very, very mindful that yes, I am having this because I do not have anything else. The next opportunity I want to pick up something, I'll pick that up. So, whether in your habits, whether in your relationships, whether anything, any aspect of your life, whatever you do it mindfully. Once you do it mindfully, you are taking complete responsibility and ownership of the outcome of that. Yeah. So, this is the first time I think my podcast is touching almost 1 hour. Uh, Relationship, the topic itself is too vast, you know, but I think it requires that much of time, because the more healthier your relationship, the more fruitful is your life. And don't be afraid to form relationship. It might be awkward, but अच्छा लगता है. Yeah. Till we meet next time, keep the faith. I had 2 more subscribers getting added. I don't know whether I should feel happy or sad about it, but I clearly told you when I started this that those were not my intentions of getting likes or subscriptions. But thank you to whoever has subscribed, and I hope you are able to benefit from this. Add comments, message me, let me know what you think about this podcast, and enjoy your life as it should be. Bye bye.